So I made a few videos about what is it um, that makes up Philadelphia, what makes up Philadelphia's culture, its character, and its people. And I briefly discussed it, like what is it about the place of Philadelphia that um, brought in what types of workers and people from where, and I think that's kind of interesting to think about. So like for one, generally. Uh, Cities have been built along rivers or areas that are most conducive to trade. So places where supply or goods can be shipped into and then either um, move to like a different mode of transportation to get shipped somewhere else or to be stored um, to be distributed and sold at the same place. So Philadelphia was built where it was built because it was where one river splits away from the other river, so it gives like two different routes for goods to travel. So there's a Delaware River, and then the Schuylkill River splits off from the Delaware River. The Schuylkill goes heads like a little northwest into Pennsylvania, and the Delaware River goes between Pennsylvania and New Jersey all the way up to New York City. Um, yeah, up toward New York City. um, and so it gives different trade routes that would be conducive for attracting jobs and growth. And then it led to, in addition to that, as a point of trade through the rail system, the railroads. So now goods can be transported and changed motor transportations or stored for sales or production in different ways through the waterways and plus the rails, and then that allowed for the transportation and availability of goods, which opened up toward manufacturing, particularly the variety of manufacturing, is what led to the biggest growth in Philadelphia, and those jobs are what brought growth, and also the type of manufacturing brought in a lot of skilled workers because Philadelphia specialized in um, uh, craftsmen, highly skilled craftsmen, specialty goods. So it brought particularly skilled workers, but some of the manufacturing jobs may not have required skills. So it was a mixture of skilled workers and less skilled workers, but still brought in a lot of immigrants who were looking for jobs and livelihood. I made another video about how I and my family ended up here. We came from South Korea and talked about what kind of jobs that people in my family, even as far back as um, great grandparents, what they did. Uh, so, um, so I don't think I detailed about how we ended up uh, in this area specifically. I did mention that we were able to come because I believe my aunt first came over as a nurse on the H1B visa because uh, having skills in medicine or science made it easier for people to come over for work, and then made it easier to apply for permanent residency and citizenship. When my aunt came over as a nurse, she first lived in New York City, and then so I guess they ended up in northern Delaware because it was a suburban area, cheaper cost of living, and there was a lot of development going on. So I guess it made sense for them to get there, and that's how uh, my mom and dad and I ended up here. And my sister was born uh, in northern Delaware, so northern Delaware being with less than an hour away from downtown Philadelphia. Um, and then so my dad first, he was a siding contractor. He, I guess, saved up. I guess the plan. I don't know if it was a plan all along to become small business owners, but he did that, the siding contracting from like I believe '87 or '88 until 1991, '92 when he and my mom opened up the shoe repair slash gift shop together, which later became a dry cleaning business. And so I guess my dad saved up money by doing the siding contracting work. And I remember around the time they started the business, they sold our house, so maybe them selling the house allowed them to start the business for like as startup costs, I guess. I don't know. I didn't never like ask them in detail about it. But people have asked me like if I like customers if I was gonna go into my parents' business and uh, take ownership of the store. So that's typically with Korean immigrants that parents ideally don't want their kids to continue in their small business. Oftentimes they want them to go into more lucrative fields like medicine or law. My parents never pushed me in either direction. I think they might be, I don't know, maybe a little bit disappointed about how I ended up, or what I ended up doing, but they haven't said anything about that. But I think the circumstances of where I lived did influence what I ended up doing professionally. Like I said, I grew up in northern Delaware, right outside Wilmington, Delaware. And growing up, my friends and I, we used to complain about where we live and that it's boring, there's nothing to do. I think it's generally what similar sentiment of people who grew up in the suburbs feel about where they grew up. But I feel like that's a similar experience to the majority of Americans. I think a lot of people live in the suburbs, and there's similar amount of things to do. Really wasn't a bad place to live. But one thing that I feel Northern Delaware lacked, even though so Wilmington is the largest city in Delaware, but it's only 10 square miles, but like the overall like city and suburbs makes up about 500,000, so a little over 500,000 people. But the city itself is only 10 square miles and just over 71,000 people. And it's compared to the rest of the county and the state is comparatively low income as far as the people that live there. There has always been, as I grew up, like a bank, a credit card industry, a lot of law offices in downtown Wilmington. But a lot of those people work there but live in the suburbs, whereas most of the immediate residential area is mostly low income. And so for a long time, downtown Wilmington had just been a place for people to work and then leave at 5, so there wasn't a lot of activity after 5. The restaurants and those businesses were there primarily for the workers who left at 5, so they were only open for lunch, maybe, I don't know, early dinner, but they closed up. The restaurants would close up after 5. That's been changing, but so maybe that was kind of common for a lot of cities, but the revitalization or the effort to bring more restaurant and shops downtown has been slow, and I think a lot of that has to do with the surrounding area being low income and majority African American, and it had that perception of being like a dangerous place for a long time, and particularly among like people who have expendable income to spend. Um, so um, I feel like kind of an advocate for more things to do, more restaurants, and fun things to do, and to places to shop downtown. But I'm also against the idea of gentrification and pushing out people that have lived there. And so uh, so I think that out of concerns about that, it led me to I studied human services and behavioral science because I felt like it was important to feel like what I'm doing with my life isn't selling things that people don't need, but rather helping people. And I think that came out of the need I saw in Wilmington, and there's a lot of that in Philadelphia as well. So I mentioned Philadelphia is the poorest large American city, meaning it has the highest poverty rate and also the lowest median income, even though there are a lot of high income jobs. But there is a large percentage of the people that live there who are low income. And so, yeah, those are the kind of issues or problems that made me think I would want to do something about it. So I studied human services, behavioral science, started out in the mental health field. I worked for like a year and a half at an acute care psychiatric hospital, then in uh, community mental health for mentally ill adults who live in the community. And now I'm a recruiter for a staffing company that primarily does staffing for social service, behavioral health, and school service clients. So clients being the companies or organizations that use our staffing service. So even though I'm no longer directly working in human services, but still like a supportive, um, uh, a job that supports the social services industry. And social services is the single largest um, type of industry in Philadelphia. So the whole sector of healthcare and social services, and among that, social services specifically, is the largest industry in Philadelphia. But healthcare is very significant with all the hospitals and also the life sciences that are in the area. And healthcare and social services is generally commonly, I think, if not most commonly, the largest industry in most modern U.S. cities. But in Philadelphia, it makes up the highest percentage. Like it's like almost a quarter, close to like between 24-25% of the workforce works in healthcare and social services. So not all in social services, but the healthcare and social services sector makes up close to 25% of all jobs in Philadelphia. Um, so um, I think it's interesting about how my story kind of, or like my background sort of fits into uh, Philadelphia today. So I think, yeah, I think the factors that bring people to a city and what the work they choose to do based on what's available there. I think all of that is interesting, and I think these are all factors that make a place what it is.